Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Claire Auden,
I'm Adriana Bucci.
I'm Telsha Edinburgh.
and today we are doing a deep dive into narcissistic supply. We're going to talk about what grey rock is and the grey rock method and setting boundaries with the narcissist.
Fun
What is
times.
narcissistic supply?
Okay. Well, I was just going to actually, narcissistic supply is going to say something really funny, but I know you're going to go deeper, so I'll let you go first. I was just going to say something like whatever you can give the narcissist as it pertains to your emotions, they want that all, and they want what you don't have as well. So narcissistic supply is that energy in motion that they need because they don't have it themselves. They don't have the ability to regulate and to give themselves the regulation in the emotion that they need. So they need that positive influence from us to regulate that. And so that's what keeps them going, pretty much.
Totally. It's basically your emotional reaction, your time, your energy, your resources, any attention and energy that you exert towards the narcissist is what they are feeding off of. And supply is one of those things that it's just not going to make any sense whatsoever when you're a normal person with empathy who could not imagine like having such a pathetic life goal of getting supply from their targets because you don't target people for supply. So it can be really hard to wrap your head around, but yes, it is that absurd. It is that ridiculous. It is that meaningless. And that's all it's about and all it ever will be about with a narcissist. Them seeing you in a bamboozled, emotional state of distress is basically how they get their jollies. They literally get off on it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that supply is anything, literally anything that gives them significance. And we talk about there's positive supply, which is where you're telling them that they're amazing and you're reflecting back to them, how they want to be seen. Then there's negative supply, which is where, you could be telling them off, yelling at them, getting angry, getting upset. This is still feeding them because it gives them significance. And they're able to say to themselves, look at how much of a strong emotional reaction I'm getting out of you. It makes them feel powerful and in control. And then some narcissists get off on sadistic supply. They enjoy hurting you because seeing how much they've hurt you, again, makes them feel significant. And because they don't do deep emotional connection, what they have is feeling that power and control over you.
Exactly.
What about the grey rock method?
So grey rocking is basically like one of the few boundaries you can really have with a narcissist. Like I tell all my clients, you're either grey rocking, low contact, or no contact. There's nothing really in between. And those are the only realistic options that you have. And it really boils down to not giving the narcissist supply. So if you are in a situation where you have to be in contact with the narcissist, maybe you still live with them, maybe you have some sort of like legal proceedings that's happening or whatever, like maybe it's a family member and you're still going to have to see them at family functions, children, exactly. Whoever it is, and if you can't go that full no contact and you have to be in contact, grey rock is your best bet. And it's basically where you take on the personality of a grey rock. And understanding supply is going to make grey rocking make so much more sense because grey rocking is you taking away that supply. So your words, your conversations, your engagement is supply. Grey rock is the total opposite of that. You're giving one word answers. You live the most boring life of all time. You're not looking forward to anything. You're not dreading anything. Yes, overnight you randomly turned into this robotic person that has no personality whatsoever. And that is the best way to protect yourself from the narcissist. And yeah, they're going to have something to say about it. They're going to say like, oh, what's up with your new attitude? You're being weird. Are you okay? I'm concerned. And that is being said in order to spark emotional reactions out of you and rope you into a conversation. Whereas, you have to really stick to your guns with grey rocking because that is the best way to protect yourself if you have to communicate with a narcissist. Like ultra boring, lackluster. You live the boringest life of all time.
And it can initially look like grey rock is backfiring because a narcissist will often escalate their attempts to get an emotional reaction out of you if you start grey rocking them.
Exactly. A lot of people say gray rocking doesn't work because the narcissist gets worse. But in my opinion, that just means the gray rocking is working. It's confirming that you are dealing with someone who feels so entitled to getting an emotional reaction out of you that when they stop getting it out of you, they're going to try even harder to get that reaction out of you. And so it's so important to recognize that that only means that it's working. And it just confirms that you're dealing with a narcissist and you have to stick to your guns. It is so hard. And this is why I'm going to sound like a broken record, but you have to do the emotional work because the more you're in touch with your emotions and releasing them, the easier it's going to be to not get your emotions involved when you are gray rocking and the narcissist is like harassing you even more to provoke a response from you.
And again, they're that pathetic that that's what they want, the emotional response, because it's really hard for people to wrap their heads around that. Like, but why? They escalate their attempts just so that I get upset. Yeah, it gives them significance. It makes them feel powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would say in terms of grey rocking is you have to be mindful of the scenario that you are grey rocking in. If you are living with a narcissist who is highly abusive and potentially physically violent, and you're stuck in that household and you can't get away, then grey rocking can be dangerous because that narcissist can escalate to physical violence in an attempt to get an emotional reaction out of you.
That is very true. And I like what Adriana said, and also what you said as well, Claire, because when people look at the whole gray rock method and they're like, oh, it doesn't work because the narcissist is getting worse. It's so true. They're getting worse because it is working. They're getting worse because the narcissist doesn't like what you're doing. They don't like the control that you're using over your emotions, because narcissists love people that are out of control emotionally. And those are their best supplies. Yes, I think so. Understanding supply and understanding what it means to pull it back from them and understanding what's going to happen in that situation when you actually pull it back from them is very important. So I think this is absolutely phenomenal, because when you get the whole aspect of what actually drives them, then you know how to handle it. I tell people all the time, when you understand the inner workings and how a narcissist works, you learn how to pull back and what actually drives them crazy and what puts you in control and takes them out of control. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you said that a narcissist loves a person that is emotionally out of control, because I think something that's really confusing for a lot of people is that narcissists will often say that they hate fighting and they just want peace, all the while starting fights and provoking you and creating drama.
Sounds about dark.
Yeah,
they Sounds about
that all the time. I just want peace. I just want peace. And you're like, no, you want freaking control chaos. That is your peace. You know what I'm saying? Really, it's their peace. I hate when they say that. I do. I hate it. It's absolutely, it's the most asinine thing that a person could ever say when they know they absolutely do not mean it. You know?
Yeah.
It's the biggest lie.
But narcs are contradiction city, so they're gonna say stupid shit all the time.
Yeah. Words versus actions.
Constantly.
They're saying one thing and doing the opposite.
Yeah. That's their MO. I mean, the gaslighting is nonstop, because it's also, they gaslight themselves. So they convince themselves of their own lies.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
What about yellow rock?
Is that a caution? What is that? Yellow rock?
Do you guys
So
know
yellow rock is like a more polite, it's like a more polite. Yeah. I've heard about it and I find, like, I get it, but I find that it can confuse people a lot. And yellow rock is really just a more polite version of gray rock. So it's like you're being nice to them as you gray rock. And the thing is, when you are gray rocking in general, you don't have to be a dick about it. Like you can, it's instead of giving like the one word answer of like yes, you can say like yes, of course, with a smile on your face. Like that would be yellow rocking instead of yes, which would be like the gray rocking. But like they're both basically in the same family of gray rock. And, with yellow rock, you're just a bit more pleasant. Maybe you're putting a few more words in there. But the goal is still to not feed the narcissist supply, but you're just being polite about it. And this can be helpful in like, like if you're having like a custody situation, a legal proceeding and things like that, where like you're being polite and like, instead of just being like very standoffish with the gray rocking, but like there's no requirement to be standoffish with gray rocking to begin with. So that's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, and it's also really important for people to understand if they're trying to use the grey rock method that they're not rude about it. You have to take all of the emotion out of it, and it's not like a surly or an angry like yes, no, okay. It's like yes, no, okay. Like it's no emotion. You have to take all of that emotion out of it because otherwise you're still giving them that supply. And then yellow rock is more like, Adriana said, it's like you can say it a bit nicer. And with yellow rock, you can talk about the weather or what's on the television or something that is not to do with your life, your feelings, your desires, your needs, or anything deep.
Okay. That's good. Okay, so I don't think I've really studied the yellow rock very much, but I like it. I'll have to look into that because my thing is gray rock can get away. I don't even want to give you a caution tape. I don't want to give you jack. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I just want to, like, it needs to be because, and I think like if you're doing yellow rock, I guess whatever that concept or what you've explained that is, I think sometimes that can like give an idea as to, okay, so maybe I don't need to necessarily go gray rock, but I can yellow rock this person and maybe work within the confines of that whole yellow rock scope. But then what are you really doing? Are you playing with the narcissist? Are you playing with yourself? Like this person is toxic and they have a mental illness, like they're not going to get better. And whatever they can do to take you off your square, they're going to do it. So like, what do you do with that?
Yeah. I think it's if you're stuck.
That would not be something that I would encourage.
Yeah. I think it's if you're stuck in a nasty custody situation and you're sharing kids and this person is highly difficult and disagreeable and you just try to essentially placate them a little bit more without getting emotionally involved.
Okay.
Which is a dangerous game because you can't manage.
I totally agree. Exactly.
Okay. And in that case, I would understand. I mean, because that is bad. And I've had some cases like that where it's been, the whole custody situation, and it was horrible. Like filing restraining orders and the whole 9 on something that wasn't even true, So it was, bad, very bad.
And I totally agree with you, Telsha. I would not really endorse yellow rock myself with my clients. Like it's really like gray rock and get out. I love that because it's like, I feel like gray rock when it's not a legal situation and like a custody battle and stuff like that. I feel like yellow rock is more, it's because people don't want to gray rock, right? Like, because it's not who you are. I get it. Like you're, and I'm speaking for, I don't want to speak for all survivors of narcissistic abuse, but you're an interesting person. You've got qualities about yourself. You've got a personality, and it's so hard to, make a conscious choice to just kind of like null that out, but you're protecting yourself. And so I feel like for a lot of people who really, really, really don't want to do the gray rocking, they'll try to use yellow rocking and like, a different definition of yellow rocking that they're not really going to be getting anywhere because it just kind of keeps that door open more than it needs to be opened with the narcissist.
And that's exactly what, because it's like, but if it's in a custody battle and you're actually away from them, then I guess that could kind of work. If, you wanted to just try to, like not really make amends, because you can't really make amends with them. They don't forgive. But in a situation like that, I guess that could be okay. The only thing that you would have to look out for is, of course, the narcissist using that leeway to manipulate further and to try to exploit that idea.
Mhm.
So that would be the thing that you would have to just really be mindful of and very careful, because they're exploited individuals, period. Like whatever
Yeah.
you give them, they're going to try to exploit it and take it to the max. So you have to be careful what you say, what you do, how you do it, how you say it, all of those different things. So I think those are my concerns around that. But, I do see how it could work.
Yeah.
And maybe in a workplace setting too, right? Like if, you want to show that you're like playing nice at work, and, if HR gets
Yeah.
involved, at least it looks like you're being like polite about the whole situation, so that could look better on you. And maybe in those situations, like what Claire was mentioning before, where like if Grey Rock becomes dangerous, where they become violent and stuff like that, but like that is a law enforcement thing. There is no podcast or life coach who can help you if things escalate to violence. So absolutely get the authorities involved if it does escalate to that sort of level. But yeah, there's definitely a time and a place for Yellow Rock, but I would definitely say it's not universal. And if you're looking into Yellow Rock, here's a coaching exercise for the listeners. If you're thinking about Yellow Rock and you're not in a custody battle or like a workplace situation or like things escalating into violence kind of thing, I would invite you to explore why you think you need to Yellow Rock instead of just Gray Rock, and maybe be a little bit polite about it, because there might be like a repressed fear there, and narcissist control with fear.
And narcissist control with fear. Yeah.
That's true.
And I think that a lot of the time people have
do.
this fantasy of, when they're trauma bonded, maintaining some level of contact with that narcissist, because the trauma bond is yelling at them that they need to have contact with this person. And so they can start kidding themselves that they can have a bit of contact or minimal contact, or we'll just Yellow Rock and I'll still get to have this person in my life. And people think that they can potentially manipulate or placate or control the narcissist, and they never can. You can't manage a narcissist. And there's that much overlap between narcissistic personality disorder and psychopathy, that this person is dangerous and they will cross moral and ethical lines that you didn't even know could be crossed. You can't manage this person. They're toxic, they're dangerous, and you have to go no contact if you can.
Yeah, it's true. And the quicker you do so, the better. But, it's just like, I do advise that you need to understand what you're dealing with, and you have to have a clear understanding of the fact that no contact doesn't mean take a break. No contact means no contact, because a lot of times, we're in the whole scope of, going Gray Rock and just no contacting. They're like, okay, this will teach them a lesson. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to teach them a lesson, and then I'm going to go back. But then they go back, and the narcissist is like way worse. And that's why I always say you never go back to the same narcissist. You go back to one that's way worse, because they're upset that you've taken that supply away, and now they're going to really do you in. So no contact is not a break. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Totally.
And narcissists have this constant running tally of everything that they even perceive or have imagined that you've done wrong. And they remember, and they will punish you. And you go back, it's dangerous, because they might love bomb you in the beginning and lull you into a false sense of security, but they will punish you.
1000%. And it's going to be way, way worse. And the love bomb is going to only last 2 seconds, and then you're going to be back to the devaluation. But it's like you don't even go to a devaluation. It's like you drop into a can, you know what I'm saying, of nothingness. Because it's just that bad. It's like they don't even take the frill or do the little frilly stuff to get you in a devalue. It's like you go straight to almost a pre-discard, again.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets worse every time you go back. Let's just for a second talk about this no contact concept, because I think there's a lot of confusion and misconceptions around the concept of no contact, particularly because it's also a term that's used in breakup recovery, and there's a big culture around getting your ex back, and people go no contact in that context as a temporary thing to try to make their ex miss them. They'll go completely no contact for like 60 days or 30 days or 90 days, or whatever it is in the breakup recovery community. And people can confuse that with a narcissist because they think, oh, we talk about no contact with a narcissist, someone's trauma bonded, they want to get that narcissist back. And it's like, no, this no contact with a narcissist is very different to no contact in the breakup recovery world.
Yeah.
I recently heard about this no contact rule, and like the version I heard about is like 21 days. And when I first heard about it, I'm like, forever. Like when you break up with an ex, you break up with an ex. Like you don't need to get back together. You broke up for a reason, narcissist or not. Like, what the fuck is this? This is so stupid. And so, yeah, like I had no idea that was even a thing, and it blew my mind. And what's funny is that that was told by a narcissist to somebody, that this breakup rule exists, and then that's how I found out, because someone told me about it because their ex told them about it, and I'm just like, whoa, so I wonder sometimes if that's like a rule that was made up by narcissists to kind of repeat that cycle of abuse.
Wow. Oh, so they have a concept out like there's a breakup rule.
Yeah, so particularly
and it's like 21 days, you said?
Well, different breakup recovery coaches use different methods. There's like the 21 days, the 30 days, the 90 days, and it's often used with avoidantly attached people and anxiously attached people, where the avoidant freaks out and discards and runs away, and that anxiously attached person is desperately trying to get them back. And so there are all of these breakup recovery coaches online that talk about how to get your avoidant ex back, and they use this no contact rule to try to make that person miss them. And this came into my sphere because so many people initially think that they're dealing with an avoidant before they realize that they're dealing with a narcissist. And I've had clients tell me about this and send me videos, and I start watching these videos and I'm like, that's not the no contact we're talking about, guys. Like, this has to be permanent.
Yeah. And even that whole thing of like, get your avoidant ex back by like being no contact for just like, 21 days or 60 days or whatever it is. Like, no, no.
Yeah.
Because they're still going to put you through shit anyways. And there is a chance that they might be a narcissist too. And at the end of the day, like, if you're anxiously attached, you need to do the inner emotional work so that you can, not want to get this person back regardless.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm old fashioned, but like once you break up, like you're done. Like you are done. You are broken up. You move on with your life, on to the next one. And, because like life is short. It's too short to be going back to exes for any reason.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you're anxiously attached, you need to work on finding someone who is secure, because if you find someone that is avoidant or get back with that avoidant, it pushes you further into your anxious attachment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole anxious attachment style has to be dealt with, and it has to really be dealt with internally, because there's a root to that, and the root has to be destroyed. And most of the time the root goes right back to the childhood, because that's where our attachment styles are usually created, is in the childhood, between, the attention that your parents give to you, or the lack thereof, is going to show you, or actually going to develop in that child, as to what type of attachment style they're going to have. Like if you have a parent that is very patient, very kind, they keep their word, they try to be the best parent that they can, more often than not, you're going to have that's going to pretty much produce a pretty competent child most of the time. And a child that is not used to the drama and the chaos, that particular person growing up in the world is probably going to be least likely to connect with a narcissist, it's not that it's impossible. And if they do connect with one, it's going to be like a freak show, because that person is going to be completely oblivious to what the heck is happening with this mentally ill individual when they don't know that type of dysfunction. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be like a sewage storm raining. But it needs to be dealt with, and it has to go back to the childhood. A lot of times people don't want to go back to the root of it because it hurts to heal. Period. It does.
And you have to admit things about your childhood and your parents that maybe you don't want to admit, and that maybe it hurts to look at the reality of how they only met your needs inconsistently, or maybe there was abuse and things like that. And it does hurt to go back to that root. And I'll just say one more thing on avoidance is that a severely avoidantly attached person is bad for everyone. They're not capable, like a narcissist, they're not capable of a healthy relationship. And even if a secure person does get sucked into a relationship with a severe avoidant, even the most secure person can get pushed into an extremely anxious attachment, just like with a narcissist. So it's not healthy. Let that avoidant go.
I agree. 100%.
And let the narcissist go.
Run.
And emotionally unavailable people,
Yeah.
That is really bad.
Stay single. Just stay single, folks. Like, honestly, like I'm happily married, and I will be the first to say, just fucking stay single. You have the rest of your life to be married and in a committed relationship. Like, and there's so many clowns out there, and like, it's literally the pickings are slim. And so like, the more time you waste with the wrong person and like being in a relationship just for the sake of being in a relationship, like the more time that you're going to delay finding the right person. So, the feeling of loneliness of being single, that sucks. But like the feeling of loneliness of like being abused by somebody who's on a mission to destroy you, or someone who is emotionally unavailable and like doesn't give you what you deserve is worse.
Yeah, absolutely. And those kind of relationships have these intensities that people can feel highly attracted to, and it feels like they're alive with this intensity, but it's toxic behavior. And it's so funny, like this conversation that we were having last time off camera about how after a relationship with a pathological person, you have this high value for consistency and stability and reliability.
Yeah. So I think that people, when you're with a narcissist or a toxic individual, that was my thought, is that I just wanted to share that although narcissists take, all of they want that positive emotion, they want that from us. It's important to understand when you need them, or when we need them to be emotionally available for us, they're not, because they're already empty. So they're taking everything from us. So what do we expect for them to give back? They're giving nothing. So it's important to realize that it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
exactly. You need to become emotionally available for yourself.
That's really good. That's so good. That's so good. And that means that you need to be in control of them. And it also means that you have to be in control of them, and you have to be mature enough to understand when someone doesn't have that to give. That's the hard part, is seeing that, okay, determining if this person is emotionally available. Because once you learn the discipline and you have, like Adriana said, you become emotionally available to yourself, then that means that you're adapting healthy habits for yourself emotionally. You're learning how to master them, right? But if you get with a person, or you go with another toxic individual, that could like take you back off into a place where you don't want to be again. So it's important to realize when people are not, emotionally safe. Let me say that, emotionally safe. That's good. When they're not emotionally safe, you don't need to invite them into your proximity of intimacy, because if you do, then now they are a part of your world, and that's bad.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel about that particular thing, because that's important for me. I know when I teach and I coached, to that idea and the concept.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about setting boundaries with the narcissist. How do you set boundaries with a narcissist, Adriana?
With your actions and not with your words. So conventional advice would say that, if you have a problem with somebody, you go to them and you say, hey, when you do X, Y, and Z, I feel this. Can you please stop doing that because I don't like feeling like this? And when you're having a conversation along these lines with a normal, healthy person, great. Bob's your uncle. You're going to have a civilized conversation. Everything's going to, be okay. They're going to, be thankful that you even brought up these concerns to them because it shows to them that you still want this relationship to continue. But when you say that to a narcissist, you have given them the war plan. You have literally given them exactly step by step, continue doing X, Y, and Z so I can make my target continue to feel like shit.
Yeah.
Bingo. They're going to keep doing that, right? So you don't want to do it with your words. And I think it was at the beginning of this episode, I was saying that gray rock, low contact, or no contact are the only boundaries you can really have with a narcissist, because when you do this, I feel this, can you stop? Does not work with a narcissist. You can try it. You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to waste a lot of your time. I would absolutely not recommend it. You have to do it with your actions. And so with gray rocking, if that's your boundary because you can't go full no contact, or because you want to just baby step before, maybe you're going to do gray rock, then graduate to low contact, then no contact. Sure. You just do it. You just become a gray rock. You're not going to tell the narcissist, hey, I'm using a tool called the gray rocking method on you because I feel that you're a narcissist and I need to protect myself from you. Right? You
Never
just
tell them.
Do not. Absolutely do not. Yeah. But it's true, right? And that's the thing. Like when we've been narcissistically abused, we're kind of hardwired to over-explain ourselves. And so this is why it's just so important that I have to emphasize, do not fucking explain yourself. Like, do not do it, because it's the worst thing you can do, because they want you to do that, because then they get information from you, they get supply from you. So you just become the grayest rock ever. If you're going low contact, you literally just reduce contact. You do not respond to anything that you don't need to respond to. Like just whatever is important. If there's like some sort of event coming up and you need to RSVP or whatever, yes, I'm attending this event. All the other shit they say to you needs to be ignored. That is low contact.
That's true.
And it's obviously easier said than done, but like this is the way to go about it. And then obviously no contact, you just cut and run. You're dead to each other. Like that you don't exist anymore. You don't respond to any of their phone calls. If they start showing up at your house, like you get a restraining order, like you're not in contact with this person anymore ever. End of story. No stupid however many day rules. It's just done.
Right.
Yeah. Because if you tell the narcissist that things are hurting you, like this is hurting me, can you please stop doing it? That's the number one way to guarantee that they're going to keep doing it. You don't tell them what they're doing is hurting you, because they're going to keep doing it. They want to know. They want to know. They want you to tell them. Tell me what hurts you. Tell me how this hurts you. Tell me about all of your childhood traumas so that I can use it against you later and make sure that you re-experience these childhood traumas. Yep. Oh, you have a fear of abandonment? I'm going to use that. Oh, your ex cheated on you? I'm going to use that. I'm going to do these things. So you don't tell them. Absolutely. And it's hard because, Adriana, to what you said, I have clients that come to me and they say, I told my narcissist that they're a narcissist and I have to gray rock them. I told them I'm going to gray rock them. I told them I'm going to go no contact. No.
Oh, honey. Oh, honey.
And when you told him, can you just tell me what the response was? Because it's almost like, and then not only do they want you to tell them the childhood traumas, they're like, what are your deal breakers? Oh, that is the worst. What are your deal breakers? Because when you say the deal breakers, they're going to bring every deal breaker to you. Oh, you don't like cheating? I'm going to do that 12 times. I'm going to do that 12 times 12. It's like, you cannot
explain anything to a mentally ill person and expect that they're not going to like try you in some sort of way. Like you can.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
And
That
they
was
also
so
take it
funny,
as like,
Adriana. That is funny.
and they also take it as this, don't tell me what to do, because they are that petty. You tell them something, they're like, don't fucking tell me what to do, and they're going to do it. And they know you're trauma bonded, and they know you're not going to leave, and they're going
Right.
to stomp all over those boundaries. But it takes practice. It takes practice
Exactly.
learning to set those boundaries.
Not just stomp over them. They're going to stomp on them with steel toe boots. I mean, you know, like they're going to just like, if you tell them that you want boundaries or that you're going to set a boundary for them, first of all, you may probably get the silent treatment for a few days. And they're going to find, and it just depending on what type of narcissist you're dealing with, they may find some very passive aggressive ways to just really be really, really mean to you as well, because that's what their whole MO. I mean, you just tell them, you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to hold on to it, and you got to stand on it 10 toes down. Like seriously, because if you don't, they're going to, if you let them exploit that in any sort of way, you've already lost your ground and you're never going to regain it again. Period.
Yeah.
You're not going to, unless you leave them.
Yeah.
They don't like
And you're
boundaries. They hate them.
Yeah. And you're not going to get them to respect your boundaries. You're not going to get them to do anything. A lot of setting boundaries with a narcissist is setting boundaries with yourself. I'm not going to talk about this with the narcissist. I'm not going to stick around for this kind of conversation. I'm going to get up and walk out. I'm going to do this. It's setting boundaries for yourself, really, because the narcissist isn't going to respect them. And, you know, narcissists love to weaponize the terminology. If you talk to a narcissist about your boundaries, suddenly they're going to turn around and misuse the word boundaries and tell you that you're crossing their boundaries. And they're going to set boundaries
With
in
control.
quotation marks that aren't boundaries.
Exactly.
Yep. That's so true. Because they see boundaries as you trying to control the situation. And I think that's that, you know, that's what they really think. They don't see it as you trying to protect yourself or, you know, trying to like, you know, mainstays in place so that the relationship can stay functional and it can stay sane. No, when you start to put down boundaries, narcissists see that as you wanting to control the situation. They absolutely hate it. And they'll tell you don't like it.
Yeah. And because the narcissist is always projecting their own intentions onto you, and because they're always trying to control you in the situation, they always think that you're trying to control them or manipulate them.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
They want to manipulate you. And they're never say that, but you know, it is what it is. But we have to, man, because the manipulation is on another level. Oh, and you know what? This is the thing to forget. When I wanted to say this before it slips my mind, but we sometimes think that, you know, talking about the manipulation, you know, we get caught up. Sometimes we're so angry with the narcissist, we want to manipulate them back. You know, we want to do things back to them, you know, and like, oh, you're going to do that. I'm going to do this. You know what I'm saying? And so what happens, and I tell my clients, and I say this, is like, you can't let them pull you down to their level. Because if you do, if they get you down there, they will beat you with experience every single time. You don't know that level of evil and manipulation. You don't operate in that. They do. So they will pull you down to that level and you'll start to do things back to them. And then they'll pull out a wild card on you and they will whip you so bad in that space of manipulation. You won't even know what hit you. Don't even do it. Don't go there. It's best to just leave. Don't even try it because they are masters at what they do. Period. They're wicked. They are wicked when it comes to the manipulation.
Yeah.
If you really want to get revenge on a narcissist, heal and live your best life without the burden of their toxicity.
And cut their access to you. They don't get access to you anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the best thing right there, is to cut that access, because once you get done with that and you cut that access, that's it. right there, because that's the turning point to your healing, really.
Yeah. And it's so true what you said, Telsha, because, you know, the narcissist loves pulling you down to their level. They love that you want to get down in the mud and wrestle with them. They love that, and they're ready to go to war, and they're going to use all their tactics. And just like what you said, Telsha, they're going to beat you with experience.
Every time you're going to be like begging for Jesus to come help you, because that mind of yours is going to be so like torn up by the, you know, the unleashing of that, oh, that demonic, whatever that is that they do, how they think, how they leave the cliffhanger conversations, how they word things, how they leave words out of sentences purposely to make you think a certain type of way. You will be calling on a higher power to deliver you, because they will mess you up, really. And it's bad because people try it and they come out and it was like, when I got done with it, I thought I was out of my mind. Yeah, because you're not dealing with something that's of this world. It's absolutely supernatural, and it's absolutely evil. That's it.
And back to what we were saying about supply, you
do
think that you're telling them off. You think that you're giving them a piece of your mind and they're going to feel bad, and they're enjoying it. You telling them off, you having a go at them, you calling them out, you trying to fight with them. They love that because it gives them significance. And that's where you have to understand the nature of supply and how these people work.
Exactly. That's it. That's what it does. And you're just like, oh. And people really learn that. And after they go through and they try to kind of do it to the narcissist a few times, and they figure out, you know, after the narcissist does them in a few times, they're just like, oh, wow, wait, what happened? You know, yeah, don't do that. Don't ever try to like get on their level.
Yeah. All right, ladies.
It's all
I
bad.
think that was a great conversation, and we'll see each other in the next episode. Telsha, enjoy the rest of your drive.
All right, I will. Thank you so much. Bye, ladies.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.